Welcome back to the PT Graduate Podcast. My guest today, Michelle Saint. Hello, Michelle.
Hello, Rich Ellis.
Good to see you. And how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. It's
Excellent.
yeah, it's
Excellent.
been a long day, but it's been a good day, so can't complain.
Good, good, good. I guess you get used to long days.
Yes, I used to struggle a lot at the beginning with the early starts,
Mm.
but I have now just got into a rhythm now, so yeah,
Yep.
it works for
Yep.
me.
Trained yourself into it.
Trained myself to become a
I
morning person.
It's funny, I was listening to, the whole lark owl thing. I was listening to another expert on a podcast, and I always thought that there was, 40% larks, 30% owls, and then a 30% that swings between. And he disagreed with that theory. He thought a lot more people were in the middle that could adapt to either being morning people or evening people. And that kind of makes sense to me. So even if you feel like you're not a morning person, you can become a morning person with plenty of practice.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, you've done well.
Thanks.
So, so, so tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, how you got into it, all that stuff.
Um, so I'm Michelle Saint. I'm a personal trainer that operates out of Les Mills in Newmarket. And I have been there since 2022. And that was actually the first gym that I have ever worked in. It's the one and only gym that I've ever
Right.
worked in,
Yep.
which I remember when I was doing my PT course, they always said, yeah, the first place you end up, most PTs, like a really high percentage of PTs, will be in a different facility within the first 6 months.
Ah.
So that always stuck with me because
Mm.
for me, I just instantly felt at home at Les Mills Newmarket, and I've never felt tempted to leave from there. So
Cool.
I've been
Good.
there for about 4 years. I started, it's so weird to even think of this terminology now, but I started back when we were still doing the COVID traffic light
Right.
system.
Yeah.
So we were in the red level of the traffic light system, which I think we've
Oh,
all
you poor
just
thing.
pushed out of our brains.
Yeah.
So at that stage, we had to wear masks as PTs, but so
Yep.
did all of the gym members. So everyone was wearing a mask. I was wearing a mask for the first 8 months of my PT career. I
Wow.
think clients were able to take their masks off after about 3 or 4 months.
Yep.
So I just, at the beginning, it was a strange time, I
Yeah,
guess,
it was.
but it was all I knew. So
Yeah.
it was okay for me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was a wild time.
It didn't put you off. That's the great thing.
Yeah, and I didn't come, I guess, in the traditional route. Um,
Yep.
I came into it, I guess, fairly late. I don't want to stereotype, but I started when I was 38.
Yep.
And I have had many other careers and roles prior to this. So this was a complete career change for me.
Mm. Mm.
I was actually working as a shop manager
Mm.
before doing all of this. So at
Yep.
the beginning, I was able to maintain that role whilst I built up my PT
Ah,
business,
yes.
which was super helpful
Mm.
because some people would think it was a bit crazy to start up a business in the middle of COVID,
Yep.
but I did. So, and I made it work. So, still
Brilliant.
here.
Brilliant. And did some of the previous roles that you'd had equip you for this, or was it a calling that you just needed to scratch? Like what drew you in?
Um, so none of my roles were anything like this. I did not used to be like I am now either. So I'm from England, if you haven't picked up from my accent.
Yes. Yes.
I've been in New Zealand for 13 years. Um, in England, I went to university and did a public relations degree, which
Ah.
is completely made up. It's a made up subject, but it's so much. I don't even, oh, I won't even go there. But I really just wanted to go to university for the parties and the
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
I'm from the south of England and I went to uni in Leeds, which is in the north.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I was far from home and
Yeah.
I was a full blown party girl. So
Is Leeds a party city?
Leeds is a uni city. So there
Oh,
are
okay.
maybe three or four different universities in Leeds. So there are
Oh, really?
plenty of students. So I guess by default, it's a bit of a
It
party city.
becomes one. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've only been briefly. I don't remember Leeds at all, but I didn't know there were that many universities there. Okay.
Yeah, the big ones are Leeds University and then Leeds Metropolitan University, which is where I went. And then there
Yeah.
are some other colleges, medical colleges, and
Oh,
things like
okay.
that as well.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
there's a lot happening there. So,
Yeah.
yeah, lots of party, 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 party.
Yeah.
And my made up public relations degree equipped me to go into, I guess, more communication based roles.
Yes.
So when I moved back to London, I worked in the construction industry. My most the recent job before I left the UK, I actually worked for the London 2012 Olympic Organising Committee.
Ooh, right.
Yeah, so that was cool.
Cool.
So that's kind of
Yeah.
sporty,
It is.
but I wasn't taking part in the sport.
Making sure it
um,
ran smoothly.
Exactly. Yeah, I was the road cycling communications manager. So that was a very stressful job because that involved closing hundreds of roads in
Yeah.
London,
Yeah.
which Londoners weren't too happy about. So,
No, no. I bet the black cab drivers weren't either.
well, it was just such a crazy thing. British people, we like to moan. So
Oh, yeah.
everybody moaned in the lead up to the Olympics, and then when it happened, it was just amazing, and everybody
Yeah.
switched, and all of
Good.
that hard work for the 2 years of trying to convince people it would be amazing, it all paid off because it
That's
was
good.
amazing. So that was cool. Um, but yeah, definitely nothing like what I'm doing now. After
Mm.
that, I moved to New Zealand,
Yeah.
and I worked for Auckland Transport. I don't know if
Mm.
I'm allowed to name and shame, but it was really hard to work for Auckland Transport after I'd worked at somewhere like the London 2012 Organising Committee.
Yeah, I bet.
Just a bit of a
I
culture
imagine.
shock.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I didn't last very long. So I won't say I had a little breakdown, but I was like, right, what am I going to do next? And I ended up working in a shop
Mm.
that specializes in bras for ladies with bigger boobs.
Okay. All right. It's very
um,
specialist.
Quite specialist. And I ended up there for 8 years of
Right.
being in New Zealand. And
Yeah.
I guess really that role, although it wasn't health and fitness, it
Mm.
was a lot of communication and working with people.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons I've kind of become so natural in being a PT is that ability to work very, very closely with people in a
Mm.
very vulnerable situation
Yeah.
in a small enclosed space,
Yes.
and just being able to communicate with people and work with people. That role really did set me up for
I bet.
the PT, although it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
totally different, really.
Yeah. Being comfortable with having uncomfortable conversations.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and also just meeting people where they're at.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Brilliant.
that gave me
Yeah.
some
Sometimes
skills.
sometimes I mean, it's not sort of conscious necessarily, but there is a lot of transferability, isn't there, with those sorts of roles into what we do? Because essentially, you can walk into this with all the technical skills in the world, but if you can't talk to someone, look them in the eye, and have a conversation, it doesn't matter how much you know.
100%.
And so you were very well equipped to do what you do and set
Yeah,
yourself up for, well, it's only 4 years, but going well by the sounds of things.
yeah, it's going all right.
So tell me a little bit about the Saint method. I was thinking about this coming into the conversation, and I thought I really like the fact that someone's actually put the time and effort into thinking about how they deliver what they deliver and systemized it so that it makes it relatable, understandable, and it becomes a bit more tangible when actually it isn't until you start doing it.
Yeah,
So yeah, so tell us a bit how it came about, what it is, and yeah, talk us through it.
So, the Saint method is my online program. So, I predominantly work with people in person at the gym,
Yep.
but this is my online program that
Mm,
I guess it's a more holistic approach to things. Obviously, when we're working with somebody in the gym, it's very workout focused.
sure.
And in a 45-minute session, there's only so much that you can kind of talk about all of the other things.
Mm,
Um, I'll just go back one step,
yeah.
just to, I guess, because it helps if I explain my value, I guess, when it
Yeah.
comes to training. So I really believe in health. I know that a lot of people come to us as trainers with body composition goals. Um, but for me, I like to have health as the main driver. These are things that we should be doing anyway for us to have a healthy, happy, energetic, full life. Body composition changes might happen as a happy byproduct of that,
Mm,
but it's more than just what we do in the gym. It's the nutrition, it's the sleep, it's our habits, it's, I guess, just how we look after ourselves in general. So
yeah.
bringing that back to your question, so
Yep.
the
Yep.
SAPE method is, I guess, that holistic program
Okay.
where it incorporates the strength, but it also looks after other things. So yeah, the Saint method is marketing essentially. It's just
Ah.
a way of, so Saint is my surname.
Yep.
It's a
Yep.
cool surname.
It is.
And I just thought actually the themes of the framework fit quite nicely as an acronym. So S
Ah.
stands for strength, which is, of course, the resistance training, the exercise.
Yep. Yep.
A stands for align. So align is all about living within your values.
Mm,
And I
mm,
guess this is just something that applied to myself as well when I started on my transformation journey. But also something that I see a lot with the people that I work with. They're often not necessarily living in alignment with their values,
mm.
or they don't even know what their values are. So that's kind of bringing
Yeah.
that element of it in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I stands for instill, which is about instilling habits,
Yeah.
instilling good habits, good healthy habits.
Yeah.
N stands for nourish, which of course is all about eating well, fueling
Yes.
yourself.
Yeah.
And T is for thrive. So I guess that's the cherry on the top stuff. That's your sleep, that's your supplements, that's the other stuff that you might incorporate into your self care. So
Mm. Mm.
those are the pillars of my framework, I guess. So
Love it. Love it. I like it. So, do you encourage your clients that you're seeing face to face to jump onto the online program as a complement to what you're doing in the gym, or is it designed for people who can't see you in the gym, or how does that work?
at the moment, it's predominantly for people that can't see me in the gym. One of my clients is actually in Australia, so
Right?
definitely can't see me in the gym.
Mm,
Um, However, um, something that I am currently working on, watch this space,
mm.
is currently it's something that I've been delivering one on one, but it's something that I'm now looking at delivering as a group
Ooh.
where I would be coaching one to many,
Yes.
in a kind of style where when people need coaching, they would submit a question or reach out, and I would do a call or a big meeting or a recorded podcast like this where I
Yeah.
can respond to everybody's questions. And a lot of people will hopefully have the same kind of
Mm.
issues. So it'd be helpful for everybody. So, with that being a one to many product, I guess,
Yep.
that would probably be more appealing to some of my in person people as an add
Mm.
on. At
Yeah.
the moment, it would be probably a bit too cost prohibitive.
Yeah. 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 I like that. So you could do the group coaching thing, and each week you could do a different letter of the word and work your way through from the S to the T or
There we go. Thank you
something.
for the
I don't know,
idea.
something around that, and get them to commit to things. Yeah, I like it. Excellent. So where, I mean, you talked about. PR and communication, but turning your methodology into an acronym is like that's just a perfect example of that, isn't it?
Well, there we go. So my made up public relations degree wasn't a complete
Not
waste
so
of
made up.
time.
It was waiting to
It's something,
deploy.
something was in there. Yeah.
That's quite exciting. So you're shifting or you're adding in, not just changing, but adding in the one to many model as well, so that I guess you can have more impact.
Yeah. And this, I guess, with in person, there's only so many hours that you can work. And I'm very fortunate to be able to say that I'm full um,
Yep.
within my boundaries. I could take
Sure.
more clients on, but then I would be working outside of my boundaries. So
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
the hours that I've chosen to work, I cannot possibly take any more clients on in
Brilliant.
person. So if you want to scale your business, then I guess you have to start thinking of other
Mm, mm,
things.
mm.
I'm also acutely aware that our businesses often they really revolve around us. And
Yeah.
if something were to happen to me, then there's no business. I'm going on holiday next week. I'm not going to be training
Right.
any clients. So having these additional
Mm,
things, I guess, in
mm.
the background, just from a financial perspective,
Yeah.
is, yeah, I guess the driver for that.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. It's not having all your eggs in one basket, so that
Mm,
you're reducing risk across your business.
yeah,
Smart move. Smart move. So where are you heading on holiday?
I'm going to Malaysia.
Ooh, lovely.
Yes,
Nice.
yeah,
Warm
yeah.
up, warm this time of year?
Around 35 degrees.
Yeah,
So a
toasty. Yeah,
little bit warm. And I think it's
yeah.
just in between the wet and dry season. So I don't know what
Right.
to expect with the weather.
Yeah.
But it's a meet in the middle holiday. So my
Okay.
sister and her partner and my niece are flying
Right.
from London, and
Yeah.
my partner and I are flying from here. So it's literally in the
Fantastic.
middle. So
Is that right? Is it kind of
yeah,
like 12 and 12?
yeah, pretty much.
Brilliant.
Close
Yeah,
enough.
I've been talking to my brother about doing the same thing for years, and we still haven't we haven't pinpointed down a location or a time. So
There you
that's
go.
that's it's on my list
Maybe
now.
Malaysia.
Malaysia.
Maybe Malaysia.
Yes, and safe. You pretty good traveling to Malaysia without it being an issue. Should be all right, shouldn't it? It's
I think
not
it should be okay.
not
It's
anywhere
the
near.
the current world affairs.
Yeah,
It's nowhere near the Middle East, so
yeah. You're
it should be
further
grand.
further away than yeah, yeah.
Yeah, should be fine.
Nice. So is that a relaxation holiday or is it active? What's that going to look like?
Um, well, my sister has a baby. Well, she's 1.5, so it's going to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
focused around the baby holiday.
Mm,
But
mm,
yeah, I'm an active relaxer.
mm.
I intend to be out and about walking and doing things. My sister wants me to train her, so we're staying in places that have gyms, so I will
Okay.
be able to continue working out and she gets some free training. So
Okay. So you're kind of working holiday?
indeed.
That's very good of you. Put your skills to good use, I suppose.
Yes, yeah.
So what would your advice be to someone coming into the industry? Because one of the reasons for the podcast in the first place was to help people out there who are early in their career and sometimes they don't make it. That first couple of years is really testing, and the dropout rate is really high, and that's disappointing. I think there's enough people out there that there's a job for all of us if we can find the market, if we can get our business working properly. But often that doesn't happen for everybody, and it can be a challenge. You've been through the difficult part, and you're doing really really well. So, what would your advice be to the? And we haven't got to top tips yet, but what would your advice be to those people? That wanting, considering, making the leap, all that stuff, and how challenging is that to begin with?
Um, I think when you start, you kind of just have to be a bit of a yes man. I've
Yeah.
mentioned earlier about my working boundaries, but that's something that
Mm.
took me 3 years to get to. Before
Okay.
then, I was just really focused on building my business.
Sure.
So my boundaries didn't exist when I
Yeah.
started, because it was just a case of saying yes to as many things as I
Yeah.
could.
Yeah.
Also, just realizing the value of being out on the floor. So at the beginning, um, I would offer new leads a free session. And then at Les Mills, they have an offer that they've actually had for the whole time I've been there.
Ah,
Two 45-minute sessions. It used to be two for 49, but it's
wow.
now two for 59 with inflation. So
Mm.
you get two 45-minute PT sessions for $59. So
Okay.
I would do a free session and then I would upsell them to the two for 49. So for
Right.
the first three sessions, I've only earned $49. But by
Mm.
the time you've worked with somebody three times,
Mm.
it's so easy to then convert them. If
Right.
you've got to do, you've got to make the connection. But once you've had three experiences with somebody
Yeah.
and you've formed that little connection, it's hard for them
Yeah. Yeah.
to say no. And I have to say, so many of my clients have been with me since the beginning.
Ah.
So I think retention is also really important. So when you
Yes.
do get your clients, treating them with respect,
Mm.
valuing their time,
Mm.
doing a good job by them is going to keep them with you as well. And
Yes.
it's probably easier to keep clients than it is to get clients.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Any retention things that have worked for you? You just talked through a couple of things there, but sometimes it's easier said than done. I mean, sometimes there are circumstances outside of your control, but those ones that you can control, is it just about quality service, like you say, respecting their time? Is there anything else that has seemed to be another ingredient in that?
I like to try and give as much value as I can. So since the beginning, I've been sending out a Friday email. So every Friday, I send an email to
Mm.
all of my clients. And actually, I realize that this is a good opportunity to stay in touch with old clients as well, people that do leave.
Ah,
So now I've kind of, it's become more like a newsletter.
yep.
So to my existing clients and anybody that I guess wants to receive my newsletter.
Mm.
So the Friday email, I guess, is another touch point
Yeah.
of me being
Yeah.
in their lives. And often it's inspired by a conversation that I've had with one of the clients.
Yeah.
And therefore, the themes are usually quite relevant to a lot of people. So
Mm.
it's quite cool when I come in and train someone and they're like, oh, yeah, so I've been trying that thing that you said in your Friday email. So I know that they read it. And I
Yes.
think it's things like that where I don't know, I'm just there again in their ear, not just in the 45-minute session that we spend together. So I think
Yeah.
little things
Yeah.
like that to
Okay.
just kind of
Yeah.
help them realize that you're there and they can ask you questions and they can
Mm.
send you emails or reach out to you just outside of your session as well.
Mm.
I
Mm.
think is
I
helped.
like it. I like it. Anything that comes up, any questions that sort of pop up reasonably, is there any patterns to that?
Lots about fat loss. Fat
Ah,
loss is still I think
yeah.
it's tricky, because there's so much information now available on the internet
Mm.
and just no way really of knowing whether it's rubbish or not. So,
Mm.
a lot of the time it's dealing with random questions that, pop up because of something someone's seen on TikTok or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, fat loss and nutrition is still probably something that most people ask about as opposed to actual exercise.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. It's the question on people's lips. I like the touch point thing. You talked about touch points. Are there any other touch points that you sort of go out of your way to build into how you roll day to day?
So I use software to help me manage my calendar. I use PT Minder.
Oh, okay.
So that I manage my calendar on there and all of my client information, assessments, things like that. I can
Yeah.
send programs out to people through that app.
Okay.
Um, but it's really helpful because it reminds me about people's birthdays. So
Ah.
whenever it's somebody's birthday, if it's not on a day that I'm training them, then I can reach out to them and I'll message them when it's their birthday. And so just little things like that that
Mm.
show that I care more than
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
for those 45 minutes that they pay to see me.
Mm.
And that
Yes.
also sends them reminders for their sessions. I used
Okay.
to try and do that myself, but now there are just too many sessions that I can't do that. So it sends them reminders so they always know what's going on. Um,
Brilliant.
so yeah, I think that, I guess, is quite professional and
Mm.
shows that I value their time, and they're
Yeah.
more inclined
Yeah.
then to value mine.
Yeah. That's pretty slick. Is that an email or a text reminder or both?
You can choose either.
Right.
I chose to go with email because I think you had to pay extra to do text messages.
Yep. Fair enough.
Got to save the money where you can. So yeah,
Yep.
email
Yep.
reminders, and
Is
they can
enough.
shut it off if it's annoying. So
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. Good. That's nice. Did you check out any other software options before going for PT Minder, or was there a reason that worked best for you?
I did do a few free trials. PT Minder was the one that just worked best for me. And a lot of these things are much of a muchness.
Mm.
So for new people, I would recommend just try a few different ones and see how it goes.
Yep.
This
Yep.
one's probably, it's not super snazzy, but it's not that expensive. And for me, the really important thing was just the calendar function. So, and I know that there are other things that you can use for calendar, but I'd rather
Yeah.
just have everything in one place.
Mm.
And
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
I use a
So you can.
different piece of software for my online clients. I use
Ah.
something called Everfit,
Okay.
and that is a bit more snazzy, but it's a lot more expensive. But that one
Mm.
is that one's again quite an all-encompassing. It's an app that they will download and doesn't have any of the calendar functions, so it's not really appropriate for my in-person business, but for my
Yes.
online. So I've got two.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. So Everfit's more about programming and online clients. Doesn't
Yes.
doesn't have the PT Minder is calendar based, so therefore it's a point about the appointments. Okay. Mm.
Yeah. That's how
Mm.
I use it. You could
Yeah.
use PT Minder in a different way, but it's too much effort for me.
Sure. Yeah. So they're distinct enough that you need both basically because they're two different
Yes.
offerings.
Yes, definitely.
Mm. Yeah, I've heard of Everfit. I don't think I've come across PT Minder. I've come across PT Distinction because I think that's out of the UK.
Right.
Um, so yeah, PT Minder is interesting one to hear about.
Yeah.
Good.
Maybe out of Australia.
Ah,
Maybe.
okay. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not
Okay.
sure. But it's been around a few years because I've had that one pretty much since the beginning
Yeah,
of my career.
yeah, yeah. Cool. Excellent. So where do you see that going? Where do you see the next few years? Do you want that online thing to be more of your business and less in person, or both?
I find these questions really hard to answer. I'm not really a 5-year plan kind of
Okay.
girl, just because I feel like I have a growth mindset. So I like to be open to
Hmm.
opportunities. And I think if you've got your dogged 5-year plan,
Yeah.
then you're on this route and you're not necessarily open to other
Yeah. Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, however, I love being an in-person PT, and I don't want to stop that. I really
Hmm.
enjoy the human connection,
Hmm.
and training people online is different. I'm writing programs for people and they go off and do it and
Hmm.
feedback to me, and I still have contact via Zoom in the way that we're talking now,
Yep.
but
Yep.
it's not the same. So
Hmm.
I would like to do both. I'm really excited to see how the group goes, which I'll be launching when I get back from Malaysia. So
Nice.
I would love to have that as a substantial part of my business, a big group.
Hmm.
But I would like to also continue the in-person stuff as well.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. If that's what spins your wheels, why would you change it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So how does the group thing work? Will it be an ongoing thing or will it have a start and a stop? And
It will be originally, so obviously this is in development, so I'm just going to see how it goes. But the plan is to have a start date and go for 8 weeks, because the current Saint method that I work with people on a one-to-one basis is a minimum 8-week commitment. So
right.
I've got people that have now been going, gosh, probably nearly a year. Um,
Okay.
So, but the minimum commitment is 8 weeks. With the group, I would start with 8 weeks, have a
Yeah.
launch, bring
Yeah.
everybody on board, and then see what happens.
Mm, I like it. Yeah.
TBC.
Well, you don't know until you try, right? And I guess you'll get
Indeed.
feedback along the way. They'll tell you what they want and what they don't want, so it'll kind
Indeed.
of evolve.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I
Yeah.
had a mentor who talked very much about building in the mud. So rather
Right.
than waiting for the product to be perfect,
Mm,
just go, just start and get the feedback, because until you start, you don't know what the people want unless you've been market testing on the way. So
yeah. Yeah.
get something out there and reiterate and reiterate as you need to.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it. I haven't heard that expression before. Building in the mud.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Excellent. Wise advice. Well, it probably is time to go. What are those top tips now? Having asked all the questions that are probably already asking them, um, what would be on your list, Michelle, for top tips? You've given us some really good things already, but anything else?
Um, yes, I guess top tips from a new PT starting. I like I said, I would say yes to as many things as possible. Don't be
Yeah,
scared to give stuff away for free at the beginning, because something
yeah,
that you do
yeah,
have a lot of is time.
yeah.
So I guess you just have to view it as marketing.
Mm,
Because something that I also noticed happened a lot to me. People started reaching out to me and saying, I've seen you on the floor, and you look
uh,
like you would be a good fit. So, and this is why if even if you're giving sessions away for free, you're on the gym floor, you're surrounded by potential clients and they're watching you. So I guess one
yes.
of my other top tips is just always be aware that people are watching you. So don't be on your phone. And something that actually a top tip,
Yeah, yeah,
just a bugbear. So I use my PT minder thing that I told you, but I have a little mini tablet that
yeah,
I take with me onto the floor. So I've got the
yeah,
program for the client up on there. I'm taking notes for their weights and their reps, so I know that they're always progressing.
yeah.
And the program's there. It's on a little tablet.
Mm,
A lot of people do that on their phones. A lot of PTs will do that on their phones, but
yes,
to an outsider, it looks like the PT is just looking at their phones while
yes.
they're with their clients. And even if they're not, the perception, and I know this because somebody told me that they don't like the PTs on their phones,
Right.
and I had to explain, well, they were probably just doing the programs, but
Yeah.
I can see how it would look that way. So I guess just being mindful that when you're on the floor, you
Mm,
are
mm.
visible, people can see you, and people are shopping, they're shopping around
Yes.
while you're there. So
They're window shopping.
yeah,
Um, so tablet, not phone. That is the answer.
there we go. That's my top tip.
I like it. Any others on that list?
um, be professional,
Hmm.
respect people's time, turn up on time, know what you're doing, and meet people where they're at. Have your plan, have your program, but meet people where they're at. A lot of the time, especially if you're training women, um, on a certain day, you might not be feeling a certain way. Well,
Yeah.
I don't want to
Yeah.
stereotype, that can be men as well.
Yeah.
Meet your clients where they're at, listen to them, and adjust accordingly.
Is there a even split between men and women, or do you have more female clients?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
significantly more. I think I've got
Right.
four men,
Oh,
four
okay.
men
Okay.
and 30 odd women.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah,
Okay.
which I love it. I love having the mix. I love my guys. So,
Mm, mm.
and actually, three of the four have been with me since the beginning.
Right.
Yeah,
Fantastic. Yeah, that really is retention.
yeah.
Good. Good, good, good. Excellent. Well, I've got no paper left to write on. I'm
Then we're
literally at the
done.
bottom, literally at the bottom of my sheet. So, the only bit of paper that I can see, I'm going to have to squeeze your contact details. So, if people wanted to reach out and find you, what would be the best way to do that, Michelle?
um, I'll say reluctantly Instagram. And I only say reluctantly because I'm not as active as I probably should be. I have all the best intentions. But that is where I would be most active, which would be Saint Fit Nutrition Coaching. It's a very long handle. Should probably do something a bit snazzier.
You could go Saint Method or yeah, Saint Method. Method Saint?
If the
Saint
group
Method.
kicks off, I
Yep.
shall
There you go.
definitely.
There you go. You can change your handle, can't you? So
I think so.
it's as long as it doesn't already exist somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, I will put that Instagram handle on the show notes so people can hit it and find you if they want to have a chat. And
Lovely.
yeah, reach out if they want to.
Fab. Happy
Magic.
to chat with anyone.
Fantastic. Thank you, Michelle. It's been awesome chatting and catching up again and hearing all about your business.
Thank you for having me.
Very welcome.
I'll come
Cheers.
back after the group is launched and I'll tell you how it went.
Yes, we'll do a second version. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
You can give us the full download.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Safe travels.
Thank you so much. Take
Cheers.
care. Bye
Bye.
bye.